Hello, this is Aki from Bringforth, and this is set 32, part 2. I will actually check if this is set 23, part 2. It should be. This is set 31, part 3. And I'd like to discuss shortly the master's model. As you know, it's based on a simulator that United Nations diplomats use when they talk with one another, so it's fairly high up in terms of political availability, and not perhaps availability, but power, in that it is not just a game. It is actually used as a simulator. And I'd like to point out that for the year or so that it's been up, and I've been thinking of myself as using the state model that is in the game, I've noticed that the hardest question I had to really answer was whether or not we should have death penalty. I'm finally leaning towards no death penalty because it's not for normal crime and punishment. And during cases of war and civil unrest, people still die from police actions. So it isn't really it isn't the kind of punishment that we want to have. We've been thinking about it, but I'm still leaning on no death penalty. Everything else seems to be fine. The second harshest thing is that since we have to consult the primary religion on all decisions, because they are the primary philosophy of the country, we don't respect their beliefs, but we consult them. If they say a law is against their belief, we will possibly change the law, but it's not necessary. It's not written in stone. And that's about it. Everything else seems to work. The higher employment rate seems to work, and the interaction with the social services seems to work. It's all a little bit easier now. It's a little more fluid, if one might say. Now, there are three main things that I have to change that don't actually work. The Minbari type society, where 1/3 of the country works in police or military service and don't get paid anything at all, doesn't work like I want it to work. It degrades the police and the military reliability a bit. It doesn't do much, but we are interested in having the perfect state, so we need to actually see that it doesn't do any at all. The idea that police officers get paid based on their performance and soldiers get paid based on their performance and their starting wage is 0 works in theory. The soldiers still do their jobs and the police officers still do their jobs, and there isn't any wide-scale civil unrest. The desire to be a police officer in the population is so strong that even if they don't get paid anything at all, there will still be police officers sufficiently for the system to work, just like I thought it would be. So that these are actually conscientious people. They don't work for money, they work for the job. But I prefer an actual paid, reasonable sized military and a reasonable sized police force. And for that we're gonna need the 20,000 police officers and about 75,000 soldiers. And the taxation system doesn't work. The energy derived from the tax base is falsified. It doesn't actually work. And it is causing the most problems because we can't actually say that our taxation system works. We don't know if we can actually pay for all these things because we don't. So we get stuck in poor situations like this. So those are the three things, since it's my guiding principle on how I interact with the world, because it's my state. That's from where I come. It's my home. It's important to get it to work right. The taxation, unemployment, taxation, military, and police manpowers are the basic ones remaining. Then, of the improvements we're still undergoing, the most important one is to build a lot of satellites, because satellites seem to be important. They seem to be the key to the next step of the evolution evolutionary cycle of technology, and being able to reduce the carbon footprint of our country by dismantling a significant number of coal and nuclear power plants while remaining a coal and nuclear power and switching towards renewables, because electricity selling doesn't generate as much profit as selling completed goods. So we will not be a electricity producing country, we will be an electricity importing country in need, but not at the moment. We will have enough electricity to run ourselves, but if something weird happens, it'll take us some time to catch up. We can, in a pinch, fast build nuclear reactors to run the economy and the environment, but it is perhaps better that we don't. So you will know us as one of those guys who will in a pinch build a nuclear power plant and work off of it, but for the time being we will be completely green if, like I said, this economy actually works. Our current way of making money is making them by having an insane taxation on technological goods. That's why everything you see with my technology is either old or broken, because the energy is going elsewhere. This is integral to what you would possibly call sixth density or fifth density civilizations. We build these imaginary worlds and then use them to power our real world. It's how life works for us. I'm gonna go outside and walk around for a bit. I feel stuck inside and hope I meet something interesting, but that is all for this update.